Hello, listeners. It's CJ. We released this episode on our Patreon feed back in September of 2019 when this movie was hot off the presses. But we are now ripping open the vault and re-releasing these episodes to you for no charge. Currently, we're taking a break from our Patreon, but if you want to, you can go to thatkindofnerd.com and you can actually support us there directly. We're going to be releasing our Patreon episodes during our off weeks, so it is my pleasure to now present to you our spoiler cast for Hobbs and Shaw.
Welcome to the club, 'cause you're that kind of nerd.
Hello, welcome to your exclusive spoiler cast of Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Woo! You voted for it, we saw it. Let me give you a quick synopsis. It's about a young boy and his tiger that lived... Did I say the wrong movie?
That sounds like the wrong movie to me.
That sounds like the wrong movie. No, this is, of course, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Jason Statham, JSK, together in a movie where they are spun off from the Fast and Furious, where a deadly super virus is threatening all of mankind and a genetically modified villain played by Idris Elba threatens the future of all humanity. And only these two gentlemen can stop disaster from happening. Woo! Ryan.
Yeah, CJ.
You saw this movie recently. This movie's a little more fresh in your head.
It is fresh in my mind.
Because I went like opening weekend and I saw this movie. So I'm going to need your help as we go through this. Because I took notes. I have notes. But man, this movie was crazy. So can I get your first impressions? Because you have seen all the Fast and Furious movies.
I have.
And I have not. So I missed like 2 or 3, but still just jumped into this.
You missed 4.
Oh, is it 4? Okay, I missed a lot. But what were your impressions?
Did you see... Wait, hang on. Did you see or not see Fast 5?
Paul Walker was alive the last time I saw a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, but he died during 7. So did you see the one with the bank vault throughout?
Through Reno, and I saw one where
you haven't seen Furious 6, Furious 7... Fate of the Furious. So you're missing out on 3.
Okay,
you're right.
Cool. All right. What were your impressions when you left the theater for this?
I liked it. It wasn't special. It wasn't wonderful. It didn't fill my heart with joy. It didn't make me think about the really horrible socioeconomic problems going on today. It was entertaining. It was fun. I have some quibbles. I have some things.
Quibbles and qualms. Okay.
If I'm going to rank this in the Fast and Furious hierarchy, I would say it's middle of the pack. It's probably a little bit better than 4, not as good as 5, 6, 7. It's Fate of the Furious good. Yeah. Right. I think that covers it.
I left the movie with one thing. I expected this movie to be one thing. And it was exactly that. So I ordered off the menu and I got exactly what I asked for. However, what I felt was like a kid in a candy store, but I got locked in the candy store. So I ate a lot of candy, but then I kind of felt a little sick afterward. But I had a good time. I was in a candy store. So how bad of a time could you have? But I definitely don't want to go back to a candy store for a little bit of time. So that's my exhausted metaphor for it. But
it's an awful metaphor.
But that's how I felt. Here's the crux of this. This movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes long. If you cut 30 minutes from this movie, just squeeze this down.
It's a good movie. It's a damn near perfect movie if you cut 30.
Exactly. Yeah. At that time, I'd be like,
I actually agree.
Yes, that's enough candy. I'm happy.
It's not even that it's enough candy. I'll tell you right now what it is.
Okay.
Because this is a thought that I had immediately leaving the theater. It felt like 2 separate movies.
Yes.
There is a very definitive point where the movie completely shifts and the movie should have ended there.
Yes.
It's a spoiler cast, so whatever.
That's what it is.
It's been out for a month. You should have seen it. The moment, as much as I enjoyed the last hour in Samoa, that was not needed.
No.
It was a completely separate thing.
Yes.
That movie should have ended at that Antion lab.
Yes.
An hour 45-minute movie.
The place where it's falling apart, everything just crashing down around them. Yeah. I'm in for all of that. I thought the Samoa stuff was a bit much. I appreciate the fact that The Rock got to put his Samoan heritage in there. Like, it was great. Like, I get that part. I get.
Yeah, no, that was wonderful, and like I'm not disparaging it. It just didn't feel.
It felt like
right.
Okay, you could have made your sequel out of this. You have something there. We fixed Jason Statham's family. Guess what the next movie is? We fixed The Rock's.
Yeah, but they had already done too much to build up the fact that he doesn't talk to his family for mysterious reasons, the fact that his daughter doesn't know their family for whatever, like they spent like how long? Like 10 minutes in the first couple of acts of the first act of the movies building that crap up.
Where she hands it on loose leaf, the family tree.
It was a rough draft. Do not disparage that young girl's artwork.
Anyway, yes, I can see that. I was going to say something that I forgot talking about. Oh, so Brian, they did a lot of setup on The Rock's family and not talking to him, not knowing his heritage, and it was a lot of stuff there. Do you feel they were a little too fast, maybe a little too furious when it came to having that setup in there? All right. Bad joke aside, I want to talk about something I actually did like about this movie. Straight up, here's the deal. This movie is dumb, right? And it's not trying to be anything other than a non-serious movie. There's no convoluted part. There's no mythos you need to know. I don't need to know how the technology works for the virus. I don't need to know how Idris Elba's technology works. It's just, here are the things, accept them, and we're just going to go ballistic and go bananas. So if you're fine with that, if you've seen a trailer for this, if you've seen a TV spot, if you've seen the poster, you know what this movie is, and you're good for that. The thing I also really liked about this movie, Brian, I could follow the action. The action scenes were very well shot. Very well edited. Yeah. There weren't those choppy cut scenes that were I sit there and I count the amount of jump takes.
Well, that's good. What you get when you have a ex-stunt coordinator as your director.
Right, yes.
David Leitch, who had been a stunt coordinator for years, he also directed Deadpool 2.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I agree.
It was really good. I really enjoyed that. I thought that just added a good layer to it. The other part, you don't have to know the whole Fast and Furious bullshit to appreciate this movie. You could go in not seeing 3 movies or so and still enjoy this. I thought it was really good. The thing that bothered me were a few things. Number one, the amount of insults that throw around in this movie are ridiculous. They are insane. They're out there, and it's fine, and it was good, but then it did become a little bit repetitive. But at the same time, that is those characters, so like it made sense. There were just a few moments where like, okay, I get like, all right, let's go on. Everyone got their jabs in. It reminded me of that article that we had read, right, or we had seen that Vin Diesel has like a punch count that you're allowed to do in Fast and Furious where no one can look too tough. Everyone's got to be on the same level of toughness.
Oh, yeah.
It's reminded me of, Jason Statham insulted The Rock, so The Rock does get to insult Jason Statham, so that way they're at equal. So at one point, if you were to stop the movie or something, they would at least be at evil playing fields.
Playing? Okay, yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, they'd be on the same page for it. The thing that really irked me and just took the movie to a screeching halt, which again, you could cut this out of the movie entirely and everything would be fine, what was Kevin Hart's gratuitous cameo.
Oh, his
I have to apologize to you, Brian, and to you, and to Josh, and to the listeners, right? About my own goddamn sense of humor, because I witnessed a man say a joke, beat it to death, revive it back with the paddles, only to then just beat it to death again.
That is your brand of humor, CJ.
And I realized I owe everyone an apology because I couldn't take Kevin Hart in this movie. There was 2-3 minutes of it hilarious, and then it just I just don't understand. I just don't get it. So
I mean,
those were my quibbles.
It went on way too long. But here's my main quibble with it. Besides the fact that this movie should have ended at the hour and a half mark. buddy cop movies work because when one is being ridiculous and over the top, the other person is the straight man.
Yes.
Is supposed to be the person who's taking things very seriously. And it seemed like in a lot of scenes that they were both trying to be ridiculous and over the top. They were both trying to one up each other, and no one was being grounded enough to make the humor work. Like Rush Hour works because when Jackie Chan is playing up his whole, oh, I don't understand, American culture thing, Chris Tucker is grounded, being like, what do you mean you don't understand type of thing.
Right.
And vice versa, right?
Right.
Like Lethal Weapon works because Murtaugh is the straight man. And Riggs is completely over the top and ridiculous and jumps headfirst in the shit. You didn't have that in this movie. So there was just so many scenes where I was like, the humor was lost because it just felt like it wasn't competition. It was just like, oh, we're both funny. We're both, you get it? We're both kind of tongue in cheek and we're both tough. And I'm like, there's got to be some give and take. That's my one quibble with this movie is just like some of the humor didn't land. Sometimes some of the serious moments didn't land because you didn't have that give and take between Statham and The Rock. And which is weird because The Rock has charm out the wazoo, is got chemistry with everybody. I think I don't blame the actors. I think it's the writing. I think the writers are trying to play up this competition angle between Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay.
And after a while, it's not competition anymore.
And that's what I'm saying. That kind of shows again that I'm only allowed to be as tough as you, and we have to be at the same level. Where you're right. The imbalance was off.
The other thing that I will say is there is a reason in every spy movie or cop movie. There's always that person who has no idea what's going on. Right. The reason there is always that person has no idea what's going on is that way that is your conduit for the audience and they get to explain things to that person, right?
Right.
There was a couple scenes that seemed very campy because it felt like these are two highly capable government agents who know exactly what's going on, know exactly what the plan is. We made the plan off camera, but now we're going to talk about the plan again.
Right.
On camera. And explain it to each other and go, yeah, I totally know that.
You know what's doing, but go over there and go find that man. You're like,
right. Like,
I got it. And like, don't forget, you got to get the eye on the scanner for him. You're like, I got that, dude.
Seemed like weird.
Right.
That seemed like it just didn't seem natural. So like we took these breaks in the movie to explain things and I needed them explained to me.
Right.
But it interrupted the flow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. Absolutely. Yes. So hey, we have to pause the action real quick. Spend the 5 minutes to explain the thing, so that way we can go ahead and go forward. The other thing that was odd to me. So first off, props to Dwayne Johnson, Jason Statham, Idris Elba, Vanessa Kirby, Helen Mirren. They were amazing. Everybody in this movie was good. Everyone was doing a damn good thing. Now, here's the thing, Brian. How old do you think Jason Statham is?
Oh, he's got to be, if he's not pushing 40, he's mid-40s.
He's almost 50, Brian.
Yep. I'm not surprised by that at all.
And how old is Vanessa Kirby?
Oh, 28?
She's 31, right?
Okay.
So there's an age gap in there.
Really? No way.
Right. But however, in the flashbacks, when we see Shaw and Vanessa Kirby as kids, they're basically,
they're about the same age.
About the same age, even though
he's her older brother.
21 years older than. Right, even though he's 21 years old.
Jason Statham's got a young face. He can pull off 35.
They're just talking about, just sat there going, that's a little, these two are, the age difference doesn't make sense.
He can absolutely pull off 35. Come on.
My biggest complaint with this movie, Brian, there was not enough Jason Statham kicking. I got the Rock punching. I did not.
There was a lot of the Rock punching.
A lot of the Rock punching. No Jason Statham kicking. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about Idris Elba's character because Brixton was obviously the madman who was there to kill off the world, right? Again, humanity is the virus.
Survival of the fittest.
Right. Humanity is the virus, and we have to call the virus. My favorite thing about Idris Elba's character is one line delivery. Just one thing that he said that convinced me that this movie was goofy enough and I don't care about why a virus is there. Because they said, you're talking about genocide. And Idris Elba goes, genocide, schmenocide.
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
Schmenocide. The
That's
man
funny.
literally says that line out loud with a straight face.
Well,
And
you
I
know,
said, this is going to be great. And I love the moment where he goes through the bus after that big chase scene right in the beginning and just throws down his helmet in frustration. And he's just so pissed about it. You're like, yeah! And you're like, but that scene's ridiculous. And that motorcycle has no way that's a realistic thing.
it's an AI motorcycle. It's awesome.
Did you hear the Transformer sound that thing made? It
No.
made the Transformer sound, Brian. It went wop, 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 wop.
I mean, that's pretty wonderful, but no, I did not actually
I
physically hear
thought
it.
Idris Elba is a wonderful villain. I need
He's
more
just
of him
having
as a villain.
fun, man. He's
Oh,
just going for the
dude.
rafters, just enjoying his time there. They all were. Like, this movie was good. This movie was fun.
Yes.
That's it. That's all I want from a movie like this. It's just let me have some fun. Let me see some stuff explode. Cool. Let's go for it, right? Like, I don't need anything deeper than that. Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. Like, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't terrible either.
So let me ask you the thing that was different, right? And again, I not knowing my Fast and Furious stuff, I was a little confused. And I didn't know maybe this was a tie-in I was missing. There was the voice, right? The thing that is talking.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I guarantee you they're going to point that, like, sequel, you're going to find out that that's Hobbs' father.
Oh, okay.
This movie made a huge deal about him putting his father away,
Right.
and that separating his family and all this other stuff. And then at the end, he intimates that he knows Hobbs.
Yes.
I have a feeling that it's his father.
Oh. So his dad is evil.
Well, yeah, his dad was, running whatever. I'm sure maybe he got recruited by Antion in prison or something. They busted him out. They let him, and then he became the head.
I did think it was impressive how quickly they could get their evil news on every news network. And then the fact that the place in London would show 4 different screens of 4 different news networks from across the world.
They're
all
not
at the same
playing any
time.
MTV or anything.
No, well, they're not
There's
playing-
no Downton Abbey on.
But it's
on
not just the
big screen.
BBC. Like, we don't need just the British news. But I need to see what's going on in Korea. I need to see what's going on in the US. I need to see what's going on in Russia. Show me all the world news, right?
They're
That's
well-informed people, I guess.
They're doing it. The company that was that was evil here was just the evil company.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Here's the other. I personally don't have this quibble, but I heard somebody else, and it's actually a really good point. And you tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
Jason Statham's character, Deckard Shaw,
Yes.
first shows up in the Fast and Furious franchise. Now, you haven't seen it, so let
As
me
the
give
bad
you.
guy. He's the bad guy. He's
the bad guy. But let me give you some context, right?
Please, yes.
So in the Fast and Furious franchise, you have the Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, and then you have Tokyo Drift. Now, when they continued the movies afterwards, they realized they wanted the character Han back, and Han dies in Tokyo Drift.
Yes, I do
during
know that.
a race, right?
Yes.
So they brought Han back, and they rejiggered the timeline. So Tokyo Drift actually takes place between 6 and 7.
Yes, I know it's way later in the line. Yes.
So
after Gal Gadot dies, doesn't he go to Tokyo?
right.
Okay, good. I'm on board.
Dies in Furious 6. He goes back to Tokyo. He dies in Tokyo Drift. And then at the end of the stinger at the end of 6 is the car accident that Han dies in, right?
Yes.
And you find out that the person who was driving the truck is Deckard Shaw.
Yes.
And he's out for revenge because of what they did to his brother in the previous movie.
Correct. Yes, I do know this.
Okay.
They don't mention his brother at all.
No, forget about the fact that they
Okay.
don't mention his brother. We then have him be the villain in 7, and then he reluctantly has to help the crew out in Fate of the Furious, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they're immediately, like, by the end of Fate of the Furious, they immediately welcome him into the fold. This group of people who for 7 movies, now going into 8, has been all about family, has been all about, the brothers you choose, and Han was one of them.
Yes, he was.
And we're immediately going to welcome this guy in who killed Han.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't addressed it. They haven't explained it. And now I have a movie that is completely centered around this person.
Mm-hmm.
who killed a main character in the series it spins off out of.
Yes.
And I definitely can see, I didn't have this problem, but I definitely can see how you as an audience member could have trouble accepting this character as a hero,
Sure.
knowing that information.
So I have a quick question.
Yes.
For this movie franchise, in order of release, can you name the titles of the movie?
In order of release?
Yeah, so it's Fast and Furious.
It's The Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, then Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, Furious 7, The Fate of the Furious, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
So you hear those titles?
It's all the Fast and Furious.
But you hear how they're really just like Fast 5? Why isn't Fast and Furious 5? The Fast and Furious versus Fast and Furious? You just hear how it's like all over the map and all kind of crazy.
Yeah,
like
I know, they're not creative titles.
Like someone just pressed a name generator and just said,
the
yeah,
most
good.
creative title is Too Fast, Too Furious. Let's be real.
Yeah. You have put more effort into explaining why this is a problem than they have in this entire movie franchise. You're fine. No, you're good. It's okay.
But my thing is this, like...
No, I don't think it bothers anyone who watches the Fast and Furious franchise that no one's addressed this.
Wouldn't it have been prudent and nice to have somehow explain why we've forgiven him, why it's okay that this guy is a good guy now? Like,
no, Brian, because
we get it. MI6, like, he was framed. The murders that he did in MI6, he was framed for because he wouldn't join NTON.
Right.
We get it. That's fine.
Sure.
That humanizes him a little bit. It doesn't change the fact that he killed Han.
But Brian,
no one forced him to kill Han.
But Brian, I want you to think about this. The Rock.
I liked Han.
I know.
That's my point. Hashtag justice for Han.
Brian, here's the thing. You don't need to explain that because I don't think you need the apology for him because The Rock eats coffee grounds and Shaw, he does not. He makes actual coffee, right?
Like what was that about?
Shaw makes eggs, right? And The Rock just drinks raw eggs. Yes. They're so different, Brian. They're so different from each other that it's okay. They don't have to explain the death thing because they're just different, and therefore it'll be funny that stuff is going on there. They don't need to worry about personal drama and character flaws and the fact that one's a murderer. Maybe they should probably address that at all. But Brian, The Rock's clothes were too small when he was going to the airport. And his name was something that sounded like a dick.
Oh, you mean Michael Oxmal?
Yes, Mike Coxmall.
Mike Oxmal.
Mike Coxmall. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I know.
Yep. No, Brian, you're putting too much thought into that. It's just not happening. I would like to take a moment and talk about Vanessa Kirby's character here, Hattie, because she was badass. She was great. Yeah. Bamf. I loved how bamfy she was in this movie.
I think she's got a long career ahead of her between this and Mission Impossible Fallout.
Mission Impossible Fallout. The Crown, Brian, I know you're not into it, but The Crown is great. She's got good drama. I thought her character was phenomenal. I loved what they did with her. I thought she was a badass motherfucker. I thought it was interesting that even though she had this virus in her that was going to kill her, she would wear a portable backpack, and she's fine. Like, it's just go into the middle of the battlefield.
Ass. Whatever.
Just go in the middle of a battlefield and kick ass. You're not having a virus in you that's going to expire in any second that will kill you, but you're still just as healthy as you were when we started the movie. There's no breakdown.
They're not slow release capsules, man.
No, and also let's talk about one thing, people. This franchise just doesn't understand how vehicles work.
Yeah, let's not go into that. Let's not go into the physics of it all. No, we get it.
You're in a helicopter crash.
Possible.
You're dead. The whole anyone in the helicopter is dead.
Except for cybernetically enhanced Idris Elba.
Right. I'm also very fascinated by the Hobbs family, who not only makes great custom cars with Nas in them, but has hooks for the front and the back of their car, so that way they can human centipede their cars together, as you know you do with cars.
Oh yeah,
you need to have the ability to human centipede, right?
You know what I did appreciate? Something I did want to mention is the reference to the Italian Job. Did you catch that?
Yes, I did.
That was a great moment.
So, if you haven't seen this movie, they come down to Shaw's lair, right? His little hideaway, his little safe house, and he's got a whole bunch of sports cars, right? And The Rock's like, someone's overcompensating for something. And at the very end is a Mini Cooper. And he goes, what is that? And he goes, it's a job we put back in Italy. You're like, oh, did you just... Because Charlize Theron was in that movie, and then she was in a Fast and Furious movie, and then he just said that...
Okay, you're just taking it way too far. I
Shared
just
universe,
appreciated the
Brian.
reference. It's not a shared universe.
Think about this. Charlize Theron, right, pulls off the Italian job, right? And then obviously has a lot of money now at her disposal. But she lost her father, right? And her love interest in that exact scenario has turned bitter. And what does she do? She finds another group of people that are joined together in cars, turns one of them against him, becomes the bad guy because she can't have a family, and now she's the villain in Fast and Furious.
Okay, but you're completely forgetting that Jason Statham, who is also in that movie,
Sure.
if not only is he just a completely different character, but he worked with Charlize Theron.
But Brian, it was all a cover with MI6. Shaw's not even his real name.
That's not how that works.
Well, you know, now, here, bigger part, we take Face Off into account. Now we're switching faces all around.
Why are you bringing Face Off
shared
into this?
Universe. Don't spit on my cupcake and tell me it's frosting. The Italian Job and Hobbs and Shaw and Fast and Furious are in a shared universe, damn it.
Okay, I was just appreciated the reference.
It was a cute reference.
I didn't realize that just saying, hey,
but
that
think
was
about
fun.
it. Charlize Theron's also in the Italian Job.
I'm well aware, but so is Jason Statham. That's why he's the one who said that line.
Do the math.
I look forward to your blog theory.
We always tell you that Hollywood should hire you, Brian. Why are you not connecting these dots right now?
I'm clearly not going to put in the work on this one. You have to do that one.
I'm very upset that you are not into this. Okay, listen. I like this movie. I do. I liked this movie.
I did too.
It's dumb and stupid, but I don't care. Can we please, though, for the love of God, I don't know how we've made it 20-some minutes into this episode, and we haven't talked about Ryan Reynolds showing up in this movie. How have we not talked about this?
Yeah, that was great. That was fantastic.
I was not expecting this at all.
Oh, no way. But, Ryan Reynolds is great in everything he does. So, there you go.
He had the tattoo of The Rock.
I'm guessing he's there because it's directed by David Leitch.
Yes. I feel
and he did have that same tattoo, which I found hilarious.
I thought that it was fantastic. He pulls out, he's got the Samoan tattoo on his shoulder. He's got the necklace on. Like, everything about this, I was enjoying so much. And how how unreciprocal it was. How The Rock's you're a fucking crazy lunatic, dude. And it's like, no, come on. Like, we got matching tattoos together. He's like, I didn't know you have a matching tattoo. And then he shows him, like, oh, dear God. I thought it was great. Now, Brian, I wanted to let you know I Googled something. You cannot stab somebody with a brick.
I wasn't going to try, but
did you stay for the stinger after this movie? Because there were
I stayed for the stingers. There was multiple stingers, yes.
There were 3 stingers in this movie.
Yes. 2 of them with Ryan Reynolds.
Two of them with Ryan Reynolds. That was man. I was not expecting that cameo. That was a good cameo.
Yes.
That unlike Kevin Hart,
as with Ryan Reynolds cameos in general, Ryan Reynolds always delivers.
I did think the stinger at the end was a little too much. Again, this movie,
but that's where he stabs the guy with the brick.
This movie overindulges just a little. Again, I'm in the candy store. I'm having my Ryan Reynolds. It's really good, but oh my God, I took another handful. I really shouldn't have. And next thing you know, I got some.
I'll take all the handfuls of Ryan Reynolds. Are you kidding?
I figured you would. Absolutely. Can you answer one question about this movie, Brian?
I can try.
I'm really curious. And you saw this recently, so you may actually have the timeline maybe in your brain. How long did Vanessa Kirby have to get the virus out of her system before she died? What's the ticking clock on this movie?
42 hours.
Couldn't even get the whole 48? They had just 42?
No, so 42 hours from the moment that they met the Russian scientist.
Okay.
So probably 48.
So, what was the timeline of this movie? Because I don't think you could fly from Russia to Samoa and from London to Russia and do all these international flights through, by the way, coach and like maybe business class.
The flight to Samoa was not coach. It was a charter plane.
Okay, it was a charter plane. But they did fly at one point commercial.
Yeah, but from London to Russia, I mean, look up that flight. That what, a few hours?
I'm just saying that is okay. Fine, London.
Yeah, look it up.
Russia.
And then the way I'm looking at it is because the Earth is round, you continue going east.
Hold on. I'd like
and
to
you
take
get
a
to
moment.
Samoa.
Can we please just stop? Can we please just say again, the Earth is round? I just want to really put that.
Yeah, the Earth is round. So
where did they go? Did they go to Moscow? Did they go to where did they?
I don't know exactly the city they went to. Just put in Moscow.
If it's Moscow, it's 3 hours and 42 minutes. If it's like Sochi, somewhere like that, it's like 6. It's just like 7 hours.
So 4 to 7 hours. All right. Now,
so let's call it 4 hours for the flight, right? Because a flight never leaves on time. You got to get there an hour early, right, to get through security checkpoint. Plus, they're in disguises, which, by the way, Jason Statham's disguise was a hat.
He had a ski uniform.
And it was a hat. Because they're wanted criminals, and everyone knows who they are. And Jason Statham
is not recognizable in any way.
Where did The Rock's mustache go, by the way? When he was Mike Cockasmall, he had a mustache. And then when he got on the plane, he had no mustache. Did he shave? Did he peel it off? It didn't look fake. I don't know where the mustache went. I'm sorry. We were talking about flying to Russia. It takes 3 hours.
Your continuity bullshit again. So let's say it's 48 hours. It had to have been more. Because it was 42 from Russia. Let's say it was a 6-hour flight. So that's 48 right there. Right. But then she injected herself the night before and Hobbs caught up with her the morning. So it must have been like 52 hours. Yeah, from the moment of injection.
Would you like to know how long it takes to get from Russia to Samoa?
Directly, I'm guessing what, like 10?
12 hours and 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I buy that.
So we've got, again, so that was a chartered flight, so less time in the airport. But the flight to Russia, we're going to say 5 to 6 hours. Right?
Sure.
We're going to say 13 hours to get from Russia to Samoa, right? Plus, we're all getting
19 hours right there.
Right, we're all getting electrocuted, and we passed out, and we got the shit kicked out of us in Russia, right? So, I mean, they were in that facility for at least 3
And they were in
hours.
Samoa for at least a day.
They were in Samoa for at least a day. There's no way this all took place in 42 hours. Just with the flights alone, you can't do that.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you're also talking about a universe that believes a runway can stretch the entirety of the United States.
You know what? Again, I made fun of you earlier for asking a question about things making sense, and I asked you about the titles, and here I am saying that this movie can't possibly exist in that timeline. But who am I to judge?
I still like this movie, regardless of whether the timelines match up. I still like this movie
too. I thought it was really great. I really enjoyed it. I loved everything about it. I love the fact that the Rock's Samoan mom can threaten people with a sandal and people just bow to her whim, which is
she was like a sniper with that shit.
Yeah,
she was just like
you make perfect sense. Oh, what was the name of like one of his brothers or cousins or something?
I don't know. So was it cousins? Because I don't think all of those people were his brothers, right? There's like 14
no. I think it was
there.
extended family was in there.
Here's the other thing that like is too kind of ridiculous for my liking. We're gonna bring a highly advanced piece of scientific equipment to my brother who customizes cars.
Yes, because
that makes sense,
right?
Because the skills are interchangeable.
Yeah,
customizing
absolutely.
cars and dealing with
Brian. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah, that was the first thing I was like, really?
What? Really? Hold on, that was the first thing that said really, because that's towards the end of the movie.
No,
you got through the rest of that movie.
That's one of the things I said really.
Okay,
like I said, I've already said my quibbles. I've already said my things that got too campy.
Here's actually a really interesting fact that I think actually deserves a little recognition. I know a couple of people have said it, but I think it's important to know. Roman Reigns, who is a WWE wrestler who is in this movie, plays one of the Rock's cousins or whatever in Samoa. Was shooting this movie while fighting through cancer. It's fighting through leukemia. It was dealing with all of that. It was still there to shoot this movie, and he was a freaking badass. He was the other guy who had that big shoulder work, just kind of like The Rock did, and shot through cancer for that. I thought it was really cool. So just good on him and good on this movie for keeping him in there and doing what they had to do. This movie is ridiculous, and
in the best kind of way.
And I have to say, I loved the time I spent. I went alone. I went by myself.
So did I.
I had my grape Sprite, and the world was grape Sprite. You get out that Coca-Cola Freestyle machine, Brian. It's good. I'd recommend it. Try it out.
Just stick with the normal flavors, bruh.
Nah, dude, grape Sprite. It's fantastic. I don't need second opinions on this movie because I don't give a shit what the second opinions are. This was great. I don't care if critics hated it. I loved it. And definitely worth seeing. Will you recommend this movie, Brian?
Absolutely, especially if you're a fan of the Fast and Furious series.
I think if you're just a fan of The Rock.
Jason Statham or The Rock, yeah.
JSK. Okay, Brian, let's do one thing though. Let's get a little bit of trivia out of the way for this movie.
Okay. Well, it did just celebrate it broke a box office record. It just has been number one at the box office 4 weeks running, which does beat Avengers Endgame record there.
And then I thought that Angel Has Fallen just kicked it out of number one.
It didn't, not this week.
Okay. Oh, this is August 25th.
No, but I guarantee you it kicks it out. Chapter 2 will kick it out of number one.
Yes.
It spent the whole month in number one spot.
What do you think is the estimated budget of this movie?
A movie like this, probably the biggest paycheck you're writing is for Idris Elba, Jason Statham, and The Rock. So I'm going to go ahead and say $250 million.
You're pretty close. It's just $200 million.
All right, cool.
Opening weekend grossed $60 million.
Yeah.
Worldwide gross, as of right now, estimated at $688 million.
All right, so we'll get a sequel.
We got it made up its marketing budget at that point, we can assume, which is
it
normally
doubled everything.
Usually double the budget. Perfectly good for this. Yes, we will get a sequel. I want more of this. I want more spin-offs of Fast and Furious where I don't have to watch the other 9 movies and I can just enjoy this. This is the thing with like comic book movies. People are like, oh, I haven't seen the 7 others. Can I watch Endgame? No, fuck off. You can't. Oh, well, can I watch Doctor Strange? Yeah, you could probably watch Doctor Strange. You don't need to know all the Marvel lore to do that. I want this stuff. I want more Fast and Furious spin-offs. More Hobbs and Shaw. More of this. More Ryan Reynolds. Less Kevin Hart. Okay? Less Kevin Hart in a bathroom as well. That joke isn't funny. Fuck off. Watch Central Intelligence if you want to watch The Rock and Kevin Hart together. Don't watch
That's a great movie.
Don't put him in Hobbs and Shaw.
Or Jumanji. Watch Jumanji.
Jumanji. Oh, I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, looks great.
I am thankful for you once, Patreon listeners who forced us to go see this movie because I kind of didn't want to, and now I'm glad I did because I learned something about myself. I'm okay with dumb movies. Feel good about that. All right, listeners, we kept you long enough. Thank you so much for making us your walk around your neighborhood or your drive to work. I want to hear your thoughts on this movie. Put us in the comments below or hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next episode.
Well, welcome to the club, because you are that kind of nerd.
It's CJ from the present, and I just want to say thank you so much for listening to this episode. We obviously had a lot of fun doing it. Cannot wait to talk to you about what's going on in the nerdy world on our next episode. But again, if you would like to, please go to thatkindofnerd.com where you can support us directly. The link is in the show notes, and we look forward to re-releasing some of these Patreon episodes to you, and we'll talk to you on the next one.